thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. Download the app today.
This is Up for a Chat with your hosts, Cindy O'Meara and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you, inspiring you to awaken the change within. I'm Cindy O'Meara.
And I'm Kim Morrison, and what a delight. You're going to love this week's guest. Not only is she a phenomenal human, not only is she gorgeous, but this woman is highly intelligent. She is an expert as a chiropractor. She's also a healthcare advocate and educator, an author. She is also a women's health. She has masters in that conversation. She also is a queen in reproductive health. And not only that, Cindy, she's also studying in functional medicine. I mean, this woman is not only obviously very curious about life and the body, but she is incredibly down to earth and a wonderful woman to talk to. Welcome to Up for a Chat, beautiful Anthea.
Thanks so much for having me, ladies. That was such a nice introduction. I'm blushing.
I think you forgot the fact that she's very young too.
Yeah, well, that's why she's so hot.
I know, like the experience this girl has, like before. Are you 30 yet, Anthea?
No, I'm not. I'm 29. I'm almost 30.
Okay, so this is where it blows us away. Yeah. You're almost 30. You're a doctor of chiropractic. You're also currently studying. Maybe, for those that don't know you, Dr. Anthea Todd, maybe you could take us on a little journey back to where it all began, why you have this philosophy for living, and what's led you down particularly women's health route.
Wow. I think the journey started in utero, really. Both of my parents are fantastic chiropractors, the type that they absolutely love what they do. And I grew up around the dinner table, seeing them come home from work and being like, oh, I had this patient and this happened and this happened. And they'd be quizzing us, being like, what would you do if a patient came to you with XYZ? And it's like, so that was always infused with me. And also my grandma became a naturopath when she was 50. And I've got two of my siblings are chiropractors, aunties and cousins and uncles on both sides of my family. So it's just been something that's been ingrained in me. And it's funny that you were mentioning how young I am. I actually was reading a book. It's called Women Who Run with Wolves. I'm not sure whether you've read it.
Yes.
Very, very, very popular. And my mum re-gifted that to me 3 years ago for Christmas. And in the front, there's an inscription from my grandma who's passed away. She passed away in 2012. And it's to my mum on her 29th birthday. And when my mum was 29, she was pregnant with me. So it's like this whole full circle. And there was a time when I was writing my book, which is called What's My Body Telling Me? I was trying to, I was really, really stuck on how I was going to describe this situation in the book, a really great analogy. And I'm like, I don't know. And I just got this like feeling. It's like, you need to pick up this book and you need to just open it to the page. And as soon as I opened it to the page, I was like, oh my gosh, that's how, I'm like, thank you, Grandma. So like my grandma talks to me through this book and it's like this, yeah, I guess I feel like I come from this lineage of healers. I don't know whether that's the right word, but it's just people that are obsessed with understanding what your body is trying to tell you and giving your body what it needs, not focusing on external things being the cure, whether it's the next detox or the next ice bath or breath work and all these things that are really great, but it's looking at, okay, does your body actually need those things? Or is it that you're just getting hyped up on all of these different trends and biohacks and all that different stuff? So, yeah, I guess that's where my philosophy has come from. It's just I've always been like, does your body actually need that? What is your body trying to tell you? Because your body is always inherently looking out for you. So let's just give it what it needs. So that's sort of, where my philosophy has come from.
And that makes a lot of sense, Anthea, because I do see all these new modalities coming up. And, I'm friends of your mum and dad's, and I have been since my early 20s. And I just find and we've all been in the health profession for a long time. Yes, that's early 20s. That means that I'm in my early 60s now. So 40 years we've all been doing this. And this is what I've noticed, is always the new thing that comes in, like the breath started coming in and then the ice baths and then the vitamin or the supplement or there's always this new thing, and I've never really thought about it. It's an external rather than an internal thing. And what is it that your body is asking you? So is that why sometimes these work for some people and sometimes they work for other people? Is this because we're individuals, aren't we, in the end?
Exactly. And I think that's the thing. I think everyone could probably say the same thing happens to them, but you could scroll your Instagram feed, and one day I saw literally they were back-to-back posts, and one was fasting increases chance of cardiovascular disease. And then the next one was fasting improves risk of cardiovascular disease. I was like, no wonder everyone is so confused about what they need to do. And I think that's the thing, and what I really have understood when I started working as a chiropractor. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to help so many people. And then I started working as a chiropractor. I'm like, okay, there's all these people that I'm helping, but there's also all these people that, particularly women, it turned out to be, like, oh, they've just got all these migraines that don't seem musculoskeletal. So I need to refer out and see, is it hormonal, or is there something more sinister going on that's causing it? Or their hair is falling out, or they just feel fatigued and tired all the time. They're gaining weight, but they haven't really changed anything with their lifestyle. Like, what is going on? We get taught, refer out to medicine, which is great. But often what happened was they would be told, do all the tests. Oh, great. Congratulations. There's nothing wrong with you. And then it's like, I would see these patients and I just see the defeat on their face going like, okay, well, am I just broken then? Like, I have to either agree and say there's nothing wrong, and then women get this false sense of what is actually healthy, and then they miss all of these warning signs from their body. Or they go, okay, well, I don't believe that there's nothing wrong. Now I need to go figure out what's happening. And then you're thrown into this world of the health and wellness industry, and you're like, what do I do? People are saying fasting, people are saying breathwork, people are saying ice baths. What about going vegetarian or vegan or carnivore? Or what do you do? And then everyone's so overwhelmed and confused. So what I ended up doing was going, okay, maybe, because I grew up in a small country town of Victoria, maybe the doctors here don't really know what they're talking about. Maybe there is actually something wrong that they're missing. So I'm going to go study it. So that's when I went and studied my master's in women's health medicine, and I didn't plan on doing the second one, but it just sort of turned out to do that in reproductive medicine, because I really wanted to understand, okay, is it that these doctors just don't know what they're talking about, or is it something else? And what I realized after studying from a medical lens is that you literally are taught that there is nothing wrong unless you can see it on a test, which is great when there's acute illness, when there is actually something external to the body that's harming it, whether you've got bacterial meningitis. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to go see my chiropractor if I have bacterial meningitis. I want to go to the hospital. I need antibiotics. Like, that can kill you. That's great. That's an external thing. Same as if you have a severe accident. That's amazing. But unfortunately, at the moment, that's not the stuff that kills people now. It's all of the chronic things that is our own dysfunction in our own body, that we're not giving our body what it needs on a functional standpoint. And that just happens over time. And then eventually there's something bad enough, or there's so much tissue destruction and dysfunction in the body that eventually it shows up on your blood test. But like, we know we can't just have diabetes one day and we didn't have it the day before. Like, you can't catch it like a cold. It happens over time, but we're just missing those warning signs, and we're misconstruing them as normal because they're so common. So that's where I go, okay, well, if there's nothing on those tests, great. We need to make sure that that's ruled out, putting on my medical hat. And then it's like, okay, well, functional, what do we do about it now? And I guess in my book, I actually use this analogy. I don't know whether you girls probably have been out of the dating game for a while, but it's tough out there. So you have green flags, beige flags, and red flags. So like, a red flag on a dating, like a person that you're dating might be like, they're abusive, or they're rude to waiters, or they have anger issues, right? That's like a no, you do not want to touch that person with a 10-foot pole. Yeah. And then you have beige flags where you're like, oh, it's a bit uncomfortable, but it's not a deal breaker. It's sort of like they pick their nose in front of you or something. You're like, yeah, probably shouldn't, but like, it's not as bad as them being abusive, right? And then you have green flags where it's like, oh my gosh, they're so lovely. They're kind to everyone around them. They have a great group of friends. They can poke fun at themselves, but they also have a really high self-worth. That's amazing. That's a green flag, right? So we have them with our body, and our body is giving us those flags all the time through our symptoms. So unfortunately, this sort of space in between, which a lot of women find themselves in, and men too, is that beige flag territory. It's like you've been to your doctor, which is a great first step. You don't have any red flags. That's not happening. Okay, but what is your body trying to tell you? Because it's giving you these beige flags, but because so many people have them, it's like, oh, that's just normal. Just deal with the person that's picking their nose in front of you. It's not that bad. It's like, just deal with your period pain. That's normal. Everyone gets it. Just deal with your hot flashes. It's normal. Everyone gets it. Everyone feels terrible and wants to rip your head off when they're 2 days out from their period and their relationships really struggle. Everyone feels fatigued and tired in the morning. That's normal. So many people aren't morning people. It's like, is it? Or is it your body trying to tell you something? And then it's going, okay, well, how about we actually let you know what is actually a green flag from your body? Like, you should be using your bowels every day. If you're not, then that's actually contributing to this whole host of things, which I could go down a whole rabbit hole with that. But it's like, we just need to understand that our body is always giving us signs. And the number one thing we need to remember is our body is on our side. It has our best interests at heart. Even though we might be experiencing something like, I had a patient yesterday that I saw that's experiencing extreme hair loss. And she's a young 20-year-old female, and she has PTSD about going in the shower. She doesn't even want to go in the shower because of how much hair she loses. So it's like, okay, well, what is your body trying to tell you? And when I asked you that, of course, she's super frustrated with her body. She's like, I just hate my body. Why does my body hate me? Why is it doing this to me? I don't want to go out. I want to be locked in my room. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just feel so depressed when my hair is doing this, which is fair. I feel like a lot of people would feel like that. I felt like that with my skin in the past. It's like, why does my body hate me? It must hate me. But really, when we can know and believe that our body is always looking out for us, and we know that because we're alive, every single thing that your body is doing is to keep you alive. That's its number one job. So if you're alive and you're listening to this or watching this, I know your body is looking out for you. And if you're getting these symptoms, it's a sign that your body is trying to give you the solution to your problem. It's not the problem. It's showing you what you need to do. It's giving you a message. So it can be really hard when it's something that you hate. But if you can just really connect to that feeling of your body is always looking out for you, then curiously ask yourself, what is this symptom trying to tell me? Like, I asked her, I'm like, what is it in your life that makes you want to rip your hair out? Like, what makes you want to do that? She's like, oh, these things are real. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And that's where I sort of like go into a little bit of the energetics and go, okay, it's interesting that this is happening. For me, with my skin, I'm like, what makes my skin crawl? Like, what makes me so angry? What makes me irritated? Like, okay, that's interesting. My body could be telling me that. So it's just tuning into the different messages, whether they're the subtle ones, whether they're a little bit louder, or whether they're screaming at you that you need help. But unfortunately, a lot of us wait until they're screaming at us and we need medication, surgery, different scans and tests.
I've heard the analogy taps, wax, and max. So we can get little taps, then we can get big whacks, and then it can feel like a big Mack truck has taken us off. So
I thought you said then wax, and I was like, back second, and I was like, what is happening? Like, what?
As in waxing. No, taps, wax, and max.
Yes,
and it's a similar thing that if we're not listening to the taps, we'll end up getting whacked. And if we don't listen to the wax, we get a big Mac, or same. Yes. I do love the dating analogy.
But it's a Big Mac truck. It's not a big from McDonald's that you get.
No. Although maybe for people like us, that would feel like a Big Mac.
Yes.
I'm curious to you've said so many incredible things. And Ina Segal has a book about the body wanting to talk to you, the secret language of the body. We've got Louise Hay, who's spoken a lot about our bodies and the emotions and how they get into our tissue and create symptoms. And then we have people like beautiful Dr. Bruce Lipton with the biology of belief. So are you saying that your book and your work focuses on that emotional aspect, or is the emotions are what creates the physical, or is it the physical that creates the emotion? Where do you sit with that kind of thing?
I believe that they're all interrelated. So it's really interesting. If I had have written this book 3 years ago, it would have been a very different book, a very, very different book. I would have focused solely on the science, solely on the medical and functional. and not so much on the energetic, even though I've always been open to it and I've known that. I'm like, okay, there's some things that I always think of energetics as the things you can't see create what you can see in all aspects of your life. So in this last 3 years, I personally have there's been a lot of stuff personally that's been going on. And I basically came to the realization that there was some repressed memories of something really bad happening to me when I was younger. And what I noticed when I was actually younger, around 4 years of age, I had this memory of walking around the lake with my mum in our small town and saying to her, I've got this chest pain, like complaining of chest pain. And as a 4-year-old, that's not normal for a 4-year-old to complain of chest pain. And my mum is very smart, and I think all mums would be like, oh, that's probably not normal. So I went and got all these tests done, and they were all clear. And I also then started to experience all of these chronic UTIs that started happening. It's like, this is like, I would live on urine because my urine would just burn all the time. And then when I was 12, I was doing Surf Life Saving with my mum, actually happened to be my age group manager. And I don't know what was going through her head, but she's like, okay, you guys can do 3 back-to-back Ironman as a warm-up. I'm like, what? You've ever done one? That's hard enough. It's like you have to run and swim and then run and then board and then do it again and then do that 3 times back-to-back. Anyway, she had a death wish for us, but I was running in to the third round, and my legs just literally started to collapse underneath me. If I try and swim, I'm going to drown. So I started running back up the beach, and I was like, come on. I'm like, and then she looked at me. She's like, okay, maybe lay down on the beach. And I lay down on the beach for about 5 minutes. My heart rate was still over 200 beats per minute. And then I lay there a little bit longer. Mum, thankfully, there was the local pediatrician was also on the beach. He came over and he's like, oh, okay, this isn't normal. Take me up to the tower. I was resting for 45 minutes and my heart rate was still above 175 beats per minute, which is not good. It should be back down to resting heart rate. So I'm like, okay, we need to look into this. What's actually going on? So lo and behold, I did this series of different tests and they found that I had a hole in between the top 2 chambers of my heart, which basically mixes deoxygenated and oxygenated blood, which effectively just makes your heart work twice as hard. So they found that, and then they also found that I had extra centers that were sending off beats. So you're meant to only have one main center that sends off electrical beats, but I had multiple, so my heart just like to do gymnastics and beat faster when it shouldn't. So after multiple surgeries, that was all cleared. And I used to get a lot of chest pain, and I love sport, so I would just ignore it and keep going, and then I'd have to take the next day off of school because I was exhausted because I didn't have as much oxygen to my body. But it all cleared. But when I started to get chest pain again after the surgeries was always when I wasn't letting things off my chest. I wasn't saying what was happening. So a couple of years after that, I was a year out of high school, and I remember having this argument with my brother. I have no idea. I can't remember what the argument was for, but I got this crushing chest pain. And I was like, this isn't normal. It's not changing with movement. It's not a musculoskeletal thing. Mum's like, let's go get it checked. Went to the GP. They did an ECG and they said, you could be having a heart attack. You need to go to emergency. So what they looked at on the scan, what you look at on Grey's Anatomy and ER and all those things, they're like, yeah, this isn't good. You could be having a heart attack. Went to emergency. They did all the blood tests and things, and thankfully I wasn't. And what they found was that my scan just shows that now after my surgery. So it's good to know that. But I still had that crushing chest pain. Did that mean I was making up the chest pain and it wasn't relevant? No. It just meant medically I didn't have anything going on. Functionally, they'd fixed the function of it. Energetically, okay, what is my body trying to tell me? Why do I have this chest pain? So my personal history, 1,000,000% your body, the things that are unseen will contribute to the things that are seen. And I see this in people that have skin issues or autoimmune things. Your skin and your immune system is a boundary of your body. Your skin is a physical boundary. It's not like a brick wall, like a barrier. It's like a net. It allows some things in and not some things. Like we know we can absorb perfumes and oils and hormones through our skin. So when someone is having trouble setting a boundary in their life, in whatever capacity, often there'll be someone that has skin issues, and that I know that shows up for me. I'll get breakouts or I'll get this rash on my back when I'm not setting a boundary, and then it goes away when I do. So, and it's the same thing with people that have autoimmune things. Whenever I see anyone that has an autoimmune thing, I'm like, okay, that's always in the back of my mind. What's going on with their boundaries? Do they have a tendency towards going towards a fawning response or making sure everyone else is okay? Then they're okay. And then what happens is their body gets confused, going, what's friend, what's foe? What's me, what's them? It's not like there's a boundary going, okay, I know where they are, I know where I am. It's enmeshed. So then your body gets confused and it's like, wait, hang on, is that my cell or your cell? And then you start attacking your own cells, and then all of a sudden you've got this autoimmune condition. So there's that aspect that I definitely consider and look at those energetics. But then it's also going, okay, well, functionally, does your body have what it needs to actually function? So it's looking at all of them. I don't believe that one aspect of healthcare is better or worse than the other. Taking it back to the dating analogy, it's like you could go on a date with someone, you're like, they're great, but they're just not for me. It's not like a ranking system. It's a matchmaking. It's like, okay, they're just not a good match for me. Like, I'm not going to tell someone that their pancreas can't secrete insulin. Oh, don't worry about it. You don't need medication. It's like, no, you do, because your body literally cannot produce it. You're at that stage now. So that's the perfect match for you. But I'm not going to give insulin to someone like me because that would kill me. I don't need it. So it's just looking, okay, what is your body telling us? And let's get to really the underlying core root of that using all of those lenses.
Yeah. Can you tell us the writing of the book and the chapters in the book with regards to explaining this? So I'm listening to you for the first time because we have not spoken about this. Like Anthea and I have spoken a lot before, but we've never spoken about this, and I'm just finding this absolutely fascinating. So to teach this to somebody else, you've done this in a book, which absolutely, and I know it's been a bestseller on Amazon. So congratulations! I just think that is incredible. But how did you explain this? Because that's a lot of concepts to try and get through and to keep your reader happy. Yeah. How did you explain all of this?
Oh, Cindy, I'm surprised I've still got a full head of hair. That's what I'm saying. I think, well, having written a book, Kim, I'm actually not sure whether have you written a book before?
She has.
Yes. Geez, Louise. Well, I obviously need to get educated on that. I've been too busy with my head in my own book. So I think you get this baptism of fire when you're writing your own book. I don't know whether it happened to you guys, but it's like you're going to learn the lessons yourself that you're preaching in this book. Mm-hmm. And I've spoken to a lot of other authors since doing this, and they're like, oh my gosh, does it ever test you? And you have to sort of integrate what you're saying. So in answer to your question, yes, all of this is described in the book, and I write it in a really easy to understand, fun way, because it's and lots of analogies, and I swear in it, and it's just this lighthearted, okay, what is your body actually trying to tell you? And I don't want you to have to think that looking after your body is another job. There's like this overall feeling of like, well, what about my sleep routine? And what about my morning routine? And what about this? And what about that? And it's like, oh my gosh, looking after your body has now become another whole job, which can be because of all of the demands in our life and all of those things. But I just wanted it to be fun and easy to implement and easy to think, okay, how can I actually use my body as my best doctor? It's literally guiding me. I just have not been taught how to actually listen to it and what to do and when to know what type of help to reach out for. So basically in the first chapter, it's explaining how your body is actually looking after you, all of the automatic things that it's doing, and you can actually have this intense trust in your body. I talk about, I don't know whether you have heard of the attachment styles before. So again, this is a dating thing. Girls, you're out of the game. So
40 years I've been out. How long have you been out, Kimmy?
Well, today is our 31st wedding anniversary. So
congratulations.
It's a long time out of the game, but I'm fascinated. Keep talking about these attachment issues.
So we have attachment styles in all areas of our life. It's typically talked about with your romantic partner, but it can be with your kids, it can be in business, it can be to other types of related friends in your life as well. So we have people that are predominantly securely attached, people that are avoidant, people that are anxious, and people that are anxious avoidant. So basically, I took that analogy and go, okay, we have that with our body. We have that relationship with our body and our health. So if you're an anxious type attachment, whether it's in relationship with other people or with your body, you inherently don't trust your body. You trust other people more than you trust yourself. If you're avoidant, it's the other way around. You trust your body more than you trust other people. So what that looks like is avoidant people are like, oh, nah, she'll be right. Like, I think about all the farmers that I used to see. They're like, no, I've got a high pain threshold and everything's good. Like, they just push their body, ignore the signs until eventually they get that whack, that Mack truck that comes. They go, oh, damn, right. Okay, now I need to do something. So they have almost too much trust in their body and they just avoid all of the other signs that are telling them, oh, hey, you actually need to do something. And then you have the anxious type, which is like, okay, well, how many steps have I done? And like, what's my Fitbit telling me? And like, oh my gosh, I ate that thing and then I shouldn't have. And then that's going to cause this. And then, so they're just thinking that they always have to be looking after their body. And there's just this like, it has to be a well-oiled machine. If I do anything wrong, then that's going to just get everything off the edge. And then I'm going to get all of these bad things. And I knew I shouldn't have done that. So they just don't have this trust that their body actually is pretty robust as well. Yeah. And then we have the anxious avoidant, which I see these people a lot. And the health environment at the moment really, it makes it quite easy to be an anxious avoidant person, because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go with this naturopath for 2 weeks. Oh, but they didn't get me results. Naturopaths are crap. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay, well, now I'm going to try this thing. And I'm going to try a chiropractor, and now I'm going to try this medication, or now I'm going to try this. And like they're always searching for the thing outside them, but then they also like, but I don't trust them. They don't know what they're talking about because they're not getting results. So then I only trust myself. So they sort of yo-yo between. And then we have the secure type, which is like, okay, I trust and know that my body's pretty robust and it's doing all of these amazing automatic things all the time to look after me. Yes, I know the things that work for me. And if it's slightly out of kilter, I'll know what to do. I know when to reach out for help, and I know when I can change something. It's like they have this self-responsibility of their health. And it's not like they're worried that eventually the penny's going to drop and eventually then they're going to get sick. Or there's always this, like, with an anxious type, there's this gearing towards, it doesn't matter what I do, eventually I'm going to get whacked and there's going to be that penny drop, and I'm going to try everything I can to avoid that. But in the back of their mind, they're thinking, it doesn't matter because it's going to come eventually. So that's sort of what I bring at the start. And then it's going through the beige flags, green flags, beige flags, red flags of different parts of your body. What's it telling you? What's your hair telling you? What's your skin telling you? What's your menstrual cycle telling you? What's your gut telling you? So that's really great. And I've given some pre-release copies to some people, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I always want to go back to that chapter and have that referred to. And then I talk about functional health and how you can look after that. I talk about my 4 female fundamentals, which is the name of my business, and what I talk about all the time. It's what your body needs. So if you give your body fundamentally what it needs, those 4 fundamentals, your symptoms generally go away, or your symptoms change to symptoms that you do like. You have energy, you sleep well. They're symptoms too. So then it's talking about that, and then we talk about the energetics and then some other things in there too. But yeah, it covers all spectrums, and it helps people be able to identify themselves and go, oh, okay, I'm probably that type of person. This is what will be beneficial for me. So then you really start to get this deep connection to your body. So you can get that deep connection first, and then you can go, oh, okay, now I can start to pay attention to those little whispers. And then I can start to, and if you can't, which is very common, and I was very much the same 3 years ago, I would just be focusing on, okay, well, what can I see? Oh, that means that means that. Okay, great. But if you can connect to your body, you can pick up those things before you start to get physical symptoms, and you need that functional support. And then hopefully, ideally, before you need that medical support.
I think this is amazing, and I love your book. I love the byline, your body isn't the problem, it's the solution. We are brought up in a world to believe that the body's incapable of doing anything by itself. Now, here's someone, yourself, who's trained medically and also holistically and energetically and functionally. I would love to ask you upfront, honestly, is the medical system our problem? The people driving it, the education system in behind it? Where is the trusting our innate wisdom gone? What about what our forefathers and mothers said? What about culture and tradition? What about, again, I'm with you, so is Cindy, we appreciate medicine in emergency situations. Can you tell us your absolute belief as to where we're going wrong?
This is a really interesting question. And prior to studying in the medical field, I probably would have been of the same temperament of you guys, being like, why do people always gear towards give me a label? And if you can't give me a label, because the label, what does the label do? It's a diagnosis, and then there's a code attached to that, and then they can charge different Medicare details, and then you can get this drug, and like there's this whole system built around that, right? It is effective, but I think the problem with the system is we're using it wrong. We don't know how to use the system. And that's where I see, from learning across these spectrums, that's where I've like, there's just this space between, I call it, that literally no one knows how to help these people. Because from the allied health side, we're like tasked with the functional stuff, right? Like, you're not dying, you don't need medication, you don't need surgery. So we're there to help you. But it's not in a succinct way. And a lot of the times, like, as a chiropractor, it's like, okay, you're not going to help someone with their acne. You're not trained in that, right? So you have to go refer them to a dermatologist or refer them to a medical practitioner. It's like, okay, but why we're placing so much importance on the fix, the external thing, versus like, what is your body actually telling us with this symptom? Why is that happening? What's happened in your life that makes your body want to do this? Because your body is balancing. And if you have side effects of that balancing being negative, then there's something going on that your body's really struggling to balance, whether it's something in your external environment that's too much for your capacity, or maybe your external environment's great, but your internal fundamentals are off. Like some people that I see that have anxiety, and they're like, I don't know why I'm anxious. But there's nothing in my life that is triggering my anxiety. It's like, oh, and then I do a lot of functional hair testing, hair tissue mineral analysis, which is amazing because it actually gives you a 3-month look at the minerals and heavy metals and everything that have been circulating in the body. And it's like, oh, you're anxious because your iron is really low, or you're depressed because your calcium is super high and your body's been leaching it from your bones. And it's like, no wonder you feel depressed. There's a really, really common trend. My dad and I used to talk about it all the time, and I love now that I'm like, oh, I actually understand why that's happening. But you see these women that are in their 40s to 50s, they have gallbladder issues. They get the gallbladder taken out. And then they start to get uterine fibroids, heavy bleeding. So it's like, okay, we're going to give you an ablation or a myomectomy or a hysterectomy. And then, oh, by the way, now you've got thyroid issues. So you've got brain fog and your hair's falling out and you've got weight gain, you feel terrible, you feel depressed. Literally everything in your body feels depressed, mind, everything. And then all of a sudden you've got osteoporosis and you've got an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. What underpins all of them? What are gallstones made of? Calcium. What are uterine fibroids made of? Calcium. What blocks your thyroid from working well? Calcium. What is meant to strengthen your bones? Calcium. What builds up in your blood vessels called cardiovascular disease? Calcium. So there's a mismatch of where the calcium is in your body. But it's like, okay, well, why is that happening? Because if you always believe that your body is looking out for you, it's doing it for a reason. So why does your body perceive that it needs to pull the calcium out of your bones and put it into circulation? So that's where we go, okay, what's fundamentally happening with your fundamentals, which is your nervous system, your metabolism, your blood sugars, and your nutrients. And when you can balance them, then the body knows, okay, we need to put that in storage and we need to put a little bit more in circulation. And it's doing that automatically. We know it's homeostasis. It's happening every single millisecond of the day. But when our fundamentals are off, our body is adapting that way. And then over time, it becomes detrimental. And we get all these patterns. So that's where it's like, oh, I put up a reel the other day that was talking about how you know if your body's telling you have low iron, even if your blood tests are saying that they're fine, or you've had multiple infusions and you just have to keep going back for them. It's like it's not actually fixing the issue. And it's a couple of people wrote on there being, oh, I had it because I had really heavy menstrual bleeding, but a Marina fixed it. Or people talking about, I had an ablation, that fixed it. Which, if I put my medical hat on, amazing. Yes, do that. You're stopping the bleeding, right? If I'm using all of them, if someone is bleeding significantly, I would want to give them something that's going to stop that bleeding. Because if you're bleeding and you're losing that much blood, you could try and help someone functionally, but helping them first would be to stop the blood loss. And then they actually have enough iron for everything else to work well. But it's not stopping there thinking that that has fixed the issue. The Mirena or the ablation hasn't fixed the underlying issue of why you have the heavy bleeding and how that's linked to why you have depression, why your hair's also falling out, why you're getting hot flashes, why you're gaining weight. There's an underlying mechanism behind them all, but I think the issue with the system is, particularly when we're thinking about medicine, it's the silos, right? You just treat one thing, you treat another thing, you treat another thing, and then, oh, by the way, the drug that you gave for one thing has side effects, and that's actually created the other issue, and now you have to do another. So medicine is really great when it's something that's external to you or you've had a significant issue. But if that's not the case, then it's really going, okay, how can you really look after how your body functions as a whole? And what I'm learning in functional medicine and what I've learned after seeing hundreds of patients is, okay, it typically always comes back to your fundamentals and are they balancing with each other, because they all counteract. So that's what I always do first. I'm like, okay, what is going on with your fundamentals? Let's do an assessment. Okay, great. How can we specifically support them for you? And then pretty much their symptoms just go away unless there's an energetic thing happening.
So what are the 4 fundamentals?
So you have your nervous system, metabolism, blood sugars, and nutrients. So I sort of explain it like a car. So you can think of, a lot of people come to me and they'll be like, oh, I've got estrogen dominance, for instance. A lot of women will say that because they have heavy periods or they're gaining weight. There's lots of different symptoms with estrogen dominance. But then I think, well, why do you have estrogen dominance? We think about how estrogen is created for majority of women that are reproductive age, it's through their ovaries. So when your brain is communicating to your ovaries to produce that estrogen, but then there's this whole process that has to happen where you have to break it down through your liver, you have to excrete it, all of these things. It's like, where do I even start? What do I do? What part of the body do I attack? Is it the adrenals? Is it the thyroid? Is it the gut? Is it the ovaries? That's the functional space. It's like, where do I start? What is underpinning it? And really, if you take it way back to basics, what's your brain made of? What's your liver made of? What's your ovaries made of? I preempted that. Cells. So if we can give your cells what they need to function well, then everything else on top of that starts to work well. Your ovaries and your brain start to communicate better. So then the hormone balance starts to happen regularly and you have that rhythm, and then your liver's working well, so it's detoxifying, and then your adrenals are working better and your thyroid. So everything ties together really nicely. So when we're thinking about the fundamentals, your nervous system is like the driver of your car. So think about your car like the cells. Your driver is responsible for looking at what is going on in the external environment. Is there a stop sign that I need to stop at? Is it raining? Do I need to drive slower? All of those things. And it's also looking at what's happening internally. So is the car temperature okay? Is there someone in the back vomiting? Like, what is happening internally? So that's what our nervous system does. It's going, okay, what is in my external environment and how am I changing everything internally to balance that? Something small as it's hot outside, so I'm going to make you sweat to cool you down. Your nervous system is detecting that and creating all of these different changes with your other fundamentals. So we can then look at your metabolism. And a lot of people think of metabolism as you've got a fast one and you're lucky because you can eat whatever you want and not gain weight. And you've got a slow one if you look at a cupcake and gain 50 kilos and you're just unlucky. Yeah. Which I used to think, because I'm one of 5 kids and 2 of my siblings have 6-packs all year round. And I'm like, what the hell, right? 3 of us don't. I'm one of those 3. Anyway, so your metabolism, what I've learned from doing this functional hair testing, I love it because it actually helps me objectively look at all 4 of these fundamentals. But I've seen people that are classified as a fast type and they exercise like crazy, eat immaculately, and are overweight and cannot lose the weight. And I see people that are categorized as a slow type and they eat whatever they want, skinny as, and don't have any issues with weight. I'm like, okay, metabolism and weight are linked, but they're not like enmeshed with each other. So we have to sort of disassociate from weight and metabolism always going hand in hand. Metabolism is literally just how your body converts one energy into another. So I think of it like the engine of a car. So when your nervous system is in a fight-flight state, someone's jumped out and scared you. What happens? You get a bit hot, right? And you get flustered. Yeah. So what happens when an engine moves fast? It gets hot. So that's to me going, okay, when your nervous system is in a sympathetic state, your metabolism will speed up because your body thinks, okay, we need to speed up the conversion of energy in our cells to be able to deal with this stress. So and what that's doing is it's shifting and changing where your nutrients are, because there's a ratio on the test between calcium and potassium, and that tells your body, are we going to speed up, we're going to slow down. And your body has to move nutrients in and out of different tissues in your body to be able to do that. So all of this stuff, if people are like, oh, I hate my body, it's not looking after me, I'm like, this is case in point that your body literally right now is taking care of you. You do not have to think about any of this. It's amazing. So when we're thinking about metabolism, it's someone will have a slow type generally if they're like, is anyone else cold in here? Like they're always freezing. In the last couple of weeks, I'm not someone that typically gets anxiety, but I had this intense anxiety for about a week. And in the first half of the week, I was extremely hot. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just flustered, and I had all this nervous energy. It felt like, I don't know whether you guys have ever felt it, but it's like, I feel like this adrenaline is literally coming out of my pores. Like I just need to exercise and move and burn this up. And in the second half of the week, I was freezing. Like I live on the Gold Coast, and people walking around in bikinis, and I was like, what is going on? I cannot I was like, it's boiling. I'm sweating at the moment. But my hands and feet were freezing, and I did not want to eat anything. I was like, no, I don't. If I made a smoothie for breakfast and I had one sip and I was like, I feel like I'm going to vomit. I don't want to eat any of this. So what my body did in the beginning was like, okay, nervous system, sympathetic state. My metabolism is going to speed up. I was ravenous. I was hungry. I was hot, everything. And then because I was in that state for a long time, my body's like, you cannot keep this up. We're going to slow you down. So we're actually going to push you into a parasympathetic, more freeze-fawn state. And I knew that because I was like, oh my gosh, I feel freezing all of a sudden, and I do not want to eat. So my metabolism is really going to slow down because that's what it deems it needs to do to balance. So again, it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just what your body thinks it needs to do. And then your third fundamental is your nutrients. So I think about nutrients like the fuel of your car, right? If you've got a petrol car, you better make sure you put petrol in it, not diesel. It's the same. If we eat Big Macs all the time, probably not ideal. But when it comes to nutrients, are you putting, one, the correct fuel in, but can you actually absorb that fuel? Can you utilize it? So a car engine needs fuel, but it also needs oil and radiator fluid. It also needs all those other cofactors that make it actually work. And then can you actually excrete it? Does the car have an exhaust, right? So when I see someone that's like, I don't use my bowels. I actually have a lot of patients actually at the moment that are struggling with using their bowels. Like they have to use coffee enemas or salt washers and things like that to be able to use their bowels. It's like, okay, I know you have a nutrient issue. Like you're struggling to excrete things. But why is that? Is there knock-on effects with the other fundamentals? Because typically, say for instance, someone has an issue with absorption. They might be eating amazing foods. And I see this with people, I'm not sure whether you see this, Cindy, as well, where people will be like, I eat amazing, and I'm reacting to all these foods, but I'm like eating an organic ribeye $120 steak. This should not be reacting to me, but I just cannot eat it. Like it's making my joints swell, it's making all these things happen. So then that makes me go, well, why aren't you absorbing this food that your body should be able to recognize? Like this food isn't catfishing you. It's not telling you it's one thing. It's actually really sprayed with glyphosate and all this other stuff, right? So that's where I go, okay, why isn't your body digesting that in your stomach? What's happened with your nervous system? If your nervous system has shut down, it's like, okay, nope, eating food is not important. I'm not going to produce my stomach acid or my stomach enzymes. So when you eat that steak, it's protein, it's largely digested in your stomach can't do it. So then that steak stays larger particles, and it goes further down into the gastrointestinal system. Then your small intestine, large intestine are like, what the hell is this food? I'm not used to seeing this. And then you start attacking this food that's actually really good, but it's just because higher up on that conveyor belt of your gut, you couldn't absorb it well. So it's looking at, oh, okay, maybe this food that you're restricting, obviously there are some foods that catfish you and aren't good for your body, But this food that you're restricting, maybe it's actually not the food, maybe it's your body. And that's where I see people that are like, sometimes I react to this food and sometimes I don't. Like, well, if the food is the same, what's changed in the equation? It's you. So what's happening to the function of your body? And then the last thing is your blood sugars. And you can think of your car like a hybrid car. So our body is really smart, because if we run out of food, we can still live, because we have stored food in the form of glycogen in our liver, in our muscles, and in our fat. So we need to be able to move between energy modes. It's like when you have a hybrid car, you need to be able to use the fuel and also the stored fuel. And if you can't, that's when you have what they call metabolic inflexibility. And that's where a lot of the fasting talk and everything has been coming out lately. But it's just really important to be able to move between those, because if your blood sugars are out, it's going to throw all of your other fundamentals. Same with your nutrients, it's going to throw all of them. All of them interact with each other. Yeah.
Those fundamentals are incredible. I've never, ever heard anybody talk about those four together. So well done. You know, like your book, I'm hanging out to get it too, but I'm not getting it until the launch. I'm waiting to get
I'll give you a signed copy.
Probably by the time this comes out, though, it will be launched and people will be able to get it. Can you let them know where they can get your book? And by the way, before we ask that question, I think you on the skateboard saying intelligent stuff, staying on that skateboard on a major road blows my mind. And for anybody who wants to see her do this,
by the way, it's not a highway. I'm not crazy.
And I just think I would love people to be able to listen to what you have to say on your skateboard. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So let us know where we can get the book, number one, or your socials, and how they can find you. And are you practicing? You know, that's one thing we haven't talked about.
Yeah. So my Instagram is at dr.Anthea Todd. And yes, I do film reels on my skateboard that help you understand what your body is telling you. And they are a big hit. I stopped the other day, I was skateboarding. I'm like, what am I going to say? I was trying to think. And this lady yelled at me from my balcony going, are you that doctor that skateboards? And I was like, I guess I am. So anyway, it's getting around. So have a look at those. They're very fun. And the book you can pre-order it on Amazon. You'll be able to get it on my website, which is femalefundamentals.com.au. And you can go into your bookstore, your local bookstore anywhere in Australia and New Zealand, and order it in. It's officially released May 1st. So you can pre-order it now online, or you can go into your bookstore and get them to bring it into you as well, and support local bookstores, which is always nice.
What was your website again? femalefundamentals.com.au. Okay, good. I just want to make sure people can find you.
Yeah. And in terms of working with me, I have 3 main ways that you can do that. So I'm just about to launch actually a membership, which I'm so excited about. I just selfishly want it for myself. But I know that it helps so many patients, and it's really aimed at people that are lost in that space between, and they need that energetic and functional help. Because in my appointments, I work really well with helping with that functional support. And now I've got some other amazing practitioners that are helping with different things for hypnosis and parts work, and all the things that are those energetic ties that are creating the behaviors that are knocking onto the functional, and then all of those things. So it's really great if you feel like you're one of those women that are lost in the space between. That's great. Actually, Tanya, your daughter, Cindy, is creating meal plans for that. So there you go.
I didn't know that. That's great. She's good at those.
Yeah, she is. She is very good at those. And then I also have a Test Your Fundamentals, which is a course where you can, I call it a course. It's not really a course, but you send off your hair and you test your own fundamentals, a personalized look at that. And then there's videos of me explaining how to read your results and what to do from there. So that's called Test Your Fundamentals, and that's self-paced. You can do it anytime, start it whenever you want. So if you're someone that's like, I don't have really significant stuff going on, like I don't need to go and get medical stuff. I've already had that tested, but I really feel like if I keep going how I'm going, I'm not going in a good direction. That is probably what I would recommend doing. And then I also do work one-on-one with patients, and that's where it's more of a 3-month journey where I'm going, okay, I'm doing different hair testing, I'm communicating, collaborating with different medical practitioners. It's more for if you're like, okay, I have no idea what is happening and there's significant stuff going on, then that's where I work one-on-one with people. But that's only 4 patients a month that I take on. So that's more yeah, less people, but I still really want to help people in depth in that way.
And can I ask, the practitioner certification and membership and the training, is that all for people that are only practitioners?
Yes. Also, that is also something else I do. I forgot about that. So I train practitioners as well, because my main thing is I want to remove this space between that people get lost in. So it's about, okay, let's educate people on what is actually common, what is actually normal, what is my body actually telling me, and what can I do? But then also, how can I help practitioners understand that too, without having to go and study 2 further masters and then another course and then another course, all of these things? Like, how can you actually put it together? So that is for, I've had health coaches do it, nutritionists, osteopaths, chiropractors. Yet to have a medical practitioner, that would be amazing to have. But it's really centered around helping practitioners understand, okay, the core fundamentals of how a female body actually works. What is it telling you? And then there's also that support there too, because I know as a practitioner, I've been very lucky to have 2 amazing practitioner parents and a very large array of a community of practitioners to be able to draw on. But there's a lot of people that don't. And there's also, I know when I started learning this, I was like, well, who do I ask about this? Because now my parents don't know this information. So who do I ask? So it's sort of come to that, okay, now it's how can I actually help create a community for practitioners to be like, okay, I have this patient and they've been told there's nothing wrong. Is there actually nothing wrong? Or am I missing something? There's all this like lack of clarity, lack of certainty, because we don't get taught it. No one does on either side. So it's trying to fill that gap. So that's what I do with practitioner training as well. Yeah.
It's amazing. I think it's incredible what you offer. I know we've got to come to the close, but one final question for you. Perhaps that can be aimed at the listener as well. At the very beginning, you mentioned the word very briefly, intuition, and you also talked about being a part of a lineage of healers. I think we're all part of a lineage of healers. It's just that we've forgotten them, or they've forgotten to share that knowledge, or it's been missed, or it's been taken over by other things that perhaps aren't healing in the way that you, me, and Cindy feel are healing. If someone was listening to this, what would be your final message to them to tap back into that lineage of healers, that intuition, that innate wisdom? What would be your suggestion of people that are in that little space in between, but how to get back in touch with that beautiful sense of healing?
Great question. So what I found helped me personally, and what I often recommend to patients that I can sense are struggling with this, is getting quiet and getting into what in IFS or internal family systems is called self-energy. But it's basically just a regulated nervous system. So we all know the feeling of when you feel in flow, or when you're doing things for play or for pleasure or curiosity, creativity, all of those things. That's like my nervous system is in that self-energy. And when you're in that and you have the belief that your body is always looking out for you, get quiet and ask your body, is there anything you'd like to let me know? And then just wait. And it could be something completely random, and that's okay. When I first started doing it, it was like showing me a slide and then a fire truck. And I was like, what is that? What does that mean? It's like, okay, great. And now it's like, oh, okay, you know how you'd actually booked in that early morning Pilates class? No, that's actually not what we need. I want you to go for a walk on the beach instead. So it's just listening to those little things, because otherwise we just do the thing. We use our mind to make decisions and our body as a resource. And when that happens, our body becomes depleted. But when we use our mind as a resource, we can use our body to make the decision. So we can have all the information and all the things, but then it's like ultimately your body is going to tell you what you need to do. But you need to be able to get into that regulated state, get quiet, know that it's looking out for you, and then ask it curiously, is there anything you'd like to let me know? And see what happens.
Well, I think this is just phenomenal, quite frankly, and I think you're gorgeous. We've had your father on the show a number of years ago, Dr. Wayne Todd.
I'm a bit more gorgeous than him, surely.
Well,
Oh yeah.
He was the one that told us he was gorgeous. No, just kidding. But I just think it's such a privilege to hear, and I guess from where Cindy and I are at now, Cindy particular moving into grandmotherhood, it's almost like the baton gets handed over. And to see a young generation of thought leaders, of change agents, of people willing to dive deeper, get more curious, and not knock the past, but embrace the past, but also embellish their beliefs. And so I just wanted to say before Cindy closes, congratulations. And I've ordered your book on Amazon. I can't wait. I'd like it signed too, though, so I'll need to see you.
I can give it. Well, you can come to the book launch if you want, or I can give one to Cindy. There you go.
Exactly. But I think it's going to be an incredible resource for all ages. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say congratulations as well. And thank you for being so curious and for also willing to share it in such a way that makes it very accessible and easy for us, the mere mortals, the everyday human who is looking for someone like you to guide and lead them. So thank you from me as I give it back to that beautiful Cindy to close.
Yeah, thank you, Anthea. And you know what I'm finding is that we do have a group of young people, like a number of young people that are stepping up. And for me, I think you've got so much more knowledge. And we interviewed last week a 27-year-old who were like, he was just as incredible. Like, yeah, we were mind blown. And I think that what's happening is there's this collective consciousness or something happening where you are getting the wisdom and then jumping up with that wisdom. So, on behalf of Kim and I, thank you so much, Anthea. This has just been an incredible podcast where I haven't stopped writing and I haven't stopped learning. Wow, Anthea, that's all I can say. I'm so proud of you. I've known you since you were born, and your mum and dad should be very proud of you too. And I can hardly wait to read your book and to be at your book launch. It's exciting what you're doing. Well done.
Thank you so much, ladies. It was a pleasure.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/The Wellness Couch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives.
Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.